what we call monitor man, Thiago Martins. And fourth official on the sideline, or board man, is Elchen Mazayev from Azerbaijan. Marquinhos shakes hands with the new Tottenham captain, who is Christian Romero. Interesting lineup that was posted out earlier on of the lineup for Spurs today. Had Jed Spence in quite a forward position. I tend to think that they're going to work in a different way. I think they're going to go with a back three and then a holding midfielder, four across the middle, and then one just off the man at the top of the park. We'll get to those in just a moment. All the pleasantries are over. It's all white for Spurs today at Paris Saint-Germain in their favoured kit. Spurs lineup today, Vicario. I think it'll be a back three of Van der Ven, Danzo and Romero from left to right. Then I think you'll have Jed Spence and Pedro Porro, wide wing backs, and inside of that will be Sarr and Bentancur, with Palhinha just playing slightly defensive there. Kudus will just play off of Richarlison at the top of the park. Solanke is on the bench. Johnson, Odobert is well on the bench for Spurs. Let's see who settles first. Let's see who gets the best toe on the football and gets the instep on it already. Spurs beaten by Bayern Munich by 4-0 recently. They will be looking to start the game pretty impressively. They won't want to concede in the first 20. So it is going to be Paris Saint-Germain versus Spurs. Bettina will be pulling the strings. Spurs players get themselves in a little huddle just inside their own penalty area. It's a lovely stadium here, the Stadio Fruili, and the Spurs fans bedecked in their white kits on the far side of the pitch. Lots of eyes will be on Lucas Chevalier in between the sticks tonight for Paris Saint-Germain. Luis Enrique showing a little steely side that he's telling everybody that he's making more of his squad from last season. Don't forget, they just signed Ilya Zabanier, the 22-year-old from Bournemouth, for 63 million euros. Of course, Chevalier in for 40 million euros. And Spurs haven't been too shabby in the transfer market themselves. Kudus, Matisse Tel, Kevin Danzo, Vuskovic, Koka Tatkai and Joao Palhinha all coming in. Spurs defend the goal away to my left-hand side as I face the pitch, and I see the pictures on my monitors and in front of me very much as you'll see them on your television pictures. A long ball forward by Vicario, goes out of play, down towards my right-hand side, and on the far side of the pitch it's going to be Hakimi, level with your own 18-yard box for Paris Saint-Germain, who is going to take the throw. Who can forget Hakimi and Mendes with how well they played. Loose ball by Hakimi, straight away there. Porro with the first dart at goal. A very loose ball there from Hakimi. Tried to play it upfield, but screwed off his boot into the middle of the park, and Porro some 30 yards out. One touch, right foot shot, just lifted it over the top of the angle of post and bar at the goal away to my right-hand side, where the Paris Saint-Germain fans are certainly in fine voice. Massive flags there as well. I often feel for the poor fool that is stood behind that flag being flown. It looks good for a camera, but there's about 30 or 40 fans behind there wondering what is happening to their vision. Good header in the middle of the park by Bentancur. It's a long ball went forward from Chevalier. Hakimi turns it back to the Paris Saint-Germain keeper, away to my right-hand side. Short pass to Pacho. Pacho out on his new side to Mendes, and Mendes trying to play it down the line, blocked by Pedro Porro. I tend to think there's going to be a couple of wing backs here. Danso is going to play, I think, in the middle of the two down on this touchline, or he might indeed come to the right-hand side, but it's thrown forward into the Spurs half, and Romero sends it back to the tangerine-clad Spurs keeper Vicario, who sweeps the ball forward. Ball's breaking clear, 12 yards inside the Spurs half, which is to the left of the halfway line. And Bentancur gets it out on his near side to Porro. Porro down the line, looking for Kudus. Not to be expected from Mohamed Kudus. Good first season for West Ham United, but lacked a little sparkle last year, and the Hammers fans will possibly not be happy on the first season Kudus that they saw being sold, but may be happy that they recouped some losses on the second season Kudus, who looked a little bit out of sorts. Long throw down the line, Richarlison right down in the corner, held up by Pacho, lets the ball back to Porro. Porro tries to play it through the legs of the covering full-back Nuno Mendes, but it hits his shins. It's a throw to Tottenham now, 6 yards away from the corner flag, away to my right-hand side. And right down by the point of my right shoulder as I sit here in my commentary position. Danzo comes forward to put the ball above his head and looks for the first ball. Is it going to be a long throw into the penalty area? The return of the long throw now. Many sides getting them in, and Danzo looks like he's winding up. He's playing on the right of a back three. Winds it up. Good throw in there. Marquinhos misses it. Loose ball hooked away just by the penalty spot by Udine. And going back towards his own halfway line and towards his own goal. Little header by Jed Spence to the bouncing ball. Gets it back to Vicario away to my left-hand side. Vicario stops the ball at his feet. Dembele comes towards him. And as is his wont, picks the ball up and Dembele says thank you very much. It's quite a warm evening here in the Stadio Friuli. Right about 27, 28 degrees. We're into the 4th minute. Vicario kicks it out towards Porro down this Spurs right-hand side. Porro tries to keep it in with Kudus. There's a little bit of touch and go as to whether it went out. Enrique Lewis, manager of Paris Saint-Germain, to the right of the halfway line, thought it had, but it is Hakimi on the far side of the pitch. It has a little give and go with Kvaratskhelia, who's played inside to Dembele, steps away there from Sarr, slips it in, good run on the far side. Spence will have to use all his pace there and goes shoulder to shoulder on the far side with Hakimi. And that is the real big thing from these two fullbacks for Paris Saint-Germain. As we saw possibly last year, you maybe got a real glimpse of it in the Liverpool matches, but also in the games against Aston Villa in the Champions League. They were so instrumental in popping up in the opposition penalty area. But take that as not so much as a pinch of salt, but what you do look on the other side is if they're in the opposition penalty area, they're not defended. Played forward by Sarr, lifted on by Porro. It was caught late on this near side by Nuno Mendes. Referee Joao Pinheiro is over very quickly to blow his whistle. It's free kick to Spurs. It's about 2 yards inside the half of Paris Saint-Germain and about 2 yards in from the touchline down beneath the camera vantage point here at the Stadio Friuli. Vicario will come forward to take it. But it is going to be Thomas Frank in charge of Spurs for the season. What a thought-provoking, conjuring thing that is for Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank not at Brentford. Thomas Frank now at Spurs. What will happen? We'll wait to see. Anyway, 6th minute of the game. Paris Saint-Germain 0, Tottenham 0. Long ball forward by Vicario into the penalty area of Paris Saint-Germain. Danzo heads it up in the air. Can he get to the second ball? He's having a little bit of a contest with Vitinha. Plays it into the penalty area just before they get the chance to play it forward with Romero. Vitinha tied it up. Gets it back to Hakimi, who thups it long and up towards the halfway line, but out of play. A little deflection off a Spurs shin on the way through, so it's going to be a Paris Saint-Germain throw just about shy of the halfway line. Interesting, as I say, Kvaratskhelia is normally playing down the left and coming in, but he is playing down the right at the moment. Dembele is playing through the centre. Just little notes of what's going on. Vitinha is going to be swapped here by Sarr, gets a toe in. And at the moment, there is a little bit of a Chelsea-esque start for Tottenham with a lot of pressing, but that is the way Thomas Frank likes his sides to play. Hakimi throws it to Kvaratskhelia, who loses out. Spence goes into a challenge, couple of double ricochets, and our referee today, Joao Pinheiro, gives it to Spurs. 18 yards inside the Paris Saint-Germain half, throws it back to the halfway line, where Mickey van der Ven, big loss last year. He's playing on the left side of the back three for Spurs, plays it back to Vicario. Long ball forward into the head of Richarlison. Richarlison to Spence. Spence inside to Sarr. Sarr loses out. Very good industrious work in the middle of the park there, this time by Zaire Emery. But Spurs pick up the pieces and try and go forward. Up to the feet of Richarlison, halfway line. Plays it into the centre circle on the Spurs side of the pitch, which is to the left of the halfway line to Kudus. And Kudus plays the ball straight out of play. Got it all wrong as he tried to play it out on this near side to Kevin Danzo. And the chewing Thomas Frank is already into a very strong chew of the gum already, making things happen. Pajo to Vitinha, 18 yards inside the Paris Saint-Germain half. Out to captain Marquinhos and forward to Dembele. Dembele out to Kvaratskhelia. Back to Dembele. Good run this time, breaking through from the middle of the park. Lovely footwork as well there by Zaire Emery. Played out of harm's way off the legs of Romero on the far side, and it's a throw to Paris Saint-Germain level with the Spurs penalty area away to my left. Paris Saint-Germain roll it back across the midway point of the Spurs half, which is to the left of the halfway line. Vitinha sees the ball go back to his back three. Forward it comes again. Hakimi, Dembele, Vitina, Scalea. Gabriel Scalea to Vitina. Vitina across the pitch. Chested down on this near side. Barcola. First chance to run at Danzo. Danzo doubled up very quickly by Pedro. Plays it in. Feet off of Doué into the back. Gabriel Scalea with the first spin and shot for Paris Saint-Germain. Just on the spin. Managed to get the ball wide of Vicario's right-hand post. Just turned, really did just drag his foot over the top of the football. But a very nice interplay by Paris Saint-Germain around the Spurs penalty area, away to my left-hand side. Vicario spots the ball up in the middle of the 6-yard box, and the goal away to my left-hand side. All the white shirts of Spurs going from the halfway line around behind the goal away to my left, and on this near side. Paris Saint-Germain had the other portion of the ground. Good atmosphere inside the Stadio Friuli. It's Paris Saint-Germain build from the back up to Barcola. Barcola 4 yards inside his own half. Takes it. Out sprints Danzo. Danzo gets back. He steps inside of two. And in the end, it's a strong challenge that has gone in the middle of the park. And the man down holding his face for Spurs is Joao Palhinha on loan. Good defensive midfielder, Palhinha. Played for Fulham a few years back. And in fairness, he does love a tackle, Joao Palhinha. And he needed to there because Barcola stepped inside of Pedro and Danzo. And it was a very, very good tackle. Ball's back in play, thrown back into the Paris Saint-Germain half to the right halfway line. Pacho to Vitina. Vitina back to Chevalier. Chevalier out to Marquinhos and off to Hakimi. Hakimi with a long ball down the far side of the pitch, which goes out of play. Mickey van der Ven returns the ball to Jed Spence midway inside the Paris Saint-Germain half. Throws down the line, looking for Richarlison, who holds off one man, tries to beat the next with footwork, gets away from Marquinhos, but it will just run out of play. Nice footwork there. Marquinhos, the captain, the most senior of players for Paris Saint-Germain. Fans still chanting away, more so from the Paris Saint-Germain part of the ground. Long ball forward. Romero gets it down. Under pressure from Dembele. Goes back to Vicario. Vicario, edge of the penalty area, away to my left-hand side. Thumps the ball out on this near side. Under pressure from Dembele. Goes right to the halfway line. Nuno Mendes into Barcola. And then it's round the corner and away to Hakimi. To Gabriel Scalea. It's by Spence. Double up very quickly. Back to Hakim, back to Vitina on the halfway line, lip of the centre circle on the Paris Saint-Germain side of the pitch. It is back to Pacho. Pacho goes to Nuno Mendes. He tries to thread the ball through, cut out by Papa Sarr. Porto tries to lift the loose ball forward. Kudus dispossesses this time Nuno Mendes and drives down the Spurs right-hand side. He's up to the edge of the box. Not a lot of help for him. Not a lot of white shirts around. Rolls it back and sets the ball back to Pedro Porto. Back to Kudus. Kudus chops back to his left foot. Left-footed cross in. Richarlison round the back. Can he bring it down? Well, he's managed to stop it going out for a goal kick. He's supported now on the far side as he retrieves it by Spence, but puts a deep cross right across the face of goal with his right foot. Real harm there all the way across the field of play. And Spurs showing flashes here. And Thomas Frank, where will he sit mindset-wise? I think he'll be quite happy with the way that they have opened up in this game at the moment. Paris Saint-Germain, Lucas Chevalier. Goal kick, plays it to Pajo. Pajo up, little flick by Dembele. Coming in behind is Barcola, but he can't take the ball with him. Let's just run through the substitutes today. Paris Saint-Germain, they've got Safonov, Marin, Baraldo, Ruiz, Goncalo Ramos, Lee, Hernandez, Kamara and Bay. I'm on the bench for Spurs today. Two for the goalkeeping covering, Kinski and Austin. And they've got Matisse Tell, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergveld, Dominic Solanke, Brendan Johnson, Wilson Odobert, Ben Davis, Byfield and Vuskovic. So that's quite a strong bench for Spurs, but interesting to see that Dominic Solanke did not get picked for the start. Has been out for quite a while, in fairness. Vitina, 12 yards inside the Spurs half, goes forward, held up by Sarr, plays it out to the right-hand side. Zaire Emery to Hakimi. Hakimi level the 18-yard box, plays it back to Zaire Emery, back to Vitina. Vitina back to Marquinhos. Good pressing by Spurs here. Pacho, almost pressed by Kudos, plays it out on this near side to Nuno Mendes. Dembele to Barcola. Barcola faced by Pedro Porro, 24 yards from the dead ball line of Spurs, away to my left. Back in field it goes this time to Dembele. Walks across the field and plays it out to Kvaratskhelia. He's driving now at Spence. Checks one way. 12 yards from the dead ball line. Just on the edge of the penalty area to Vicario's left. Rolls it back. Deep cross across the face of goal. Hooked away there decently at the back post by Pedro Porro. Kudos can't make anything of it. And Nuno Mendes plays it to Pajo and Marquinhos out to Hakimi. All of a sudden there's a little bit of pressure coming from Paris Saint-Germain here. Kvaratskhelia inside to Vitina. Vitina 12 yards inside the Spurs half, which is to the left of the halfway line as I face it. And on this near side to Mendes, the full-back, into Vitina, up to Dembele, out to Kvaratskhelia. Tries to get away. Lovely tackling there by Rodrigo Bentancur. Slips the ball through to Richarlison. Richarlison's now one-on-one with Pacho. 6 to 8 yards outside the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area. Ball goes forward and the flag goes up. I think it's slightly awkward on Bentancur there, but good break there by Spurs, and Bentancur showing some pace on the attack. Richarlison just found himself caught on the football. And it's a free kick to Paris Saint-Germain. 15th minute of the game, Paris Saint-Germain 0. Tottenham Hotspur 0 in this UEFA Super Cup from the Stadio Friuli in Udine in Italy. Paris Saint-Germain defend the goal away to my right in this first half. And line to Barcola, give and go, and all of a sudden Danzo's the wrong side. Barcola breaking forward. Sarr's going to try and stop him, does stop him. Good covering there by Pape Sarr. Danzo feeds the ball into the central point of the Spurs half, away to the left of the halfway line. Bentancur feeds the ball back to Spence, but Spence's ball forward is cut out by Marquinhos. And that sets it down the Paris Saint-Germain right-hand side. Kvaratskhelia, give and go with Dembele. Back this time to Doué. Doué's crossfield ball looking for Barcola. It's just a little too long. Comes off of Barcola's foot as he reaches to bring it down on the volley. And there'll be a throw to Tottenham Hotspur. Live with their own 18-yard box away to my left-hand side. Lots of football. It all starts now. Back into another season. Curtain raisers are done. So far, Paris Saint-Germain with the lion's share of possession. And their passing has been a little better. Long throw forward. Kudos gets it to Richarlison. Richarlison brings it down, but the linesman on the near side decides that that's an offside to one side on the Brazilian. And they get a free kick for offside to Paris Saint-Germain. No more than about 6 to 8 yards inside their own half. Just the difference in stats already. Paris Saint-Germain, these real-time stats, have attempted 103 passes to Tottenham's 37. That's just now altered to 108-41. But it's Spurs there with Kudos shutting down Pacho down on the dead ball line away to my right-hand side. So still the press there from Thomas Frank's Spurs side, which is very synonymous with Thomas Frank's sides. Very much brought into vogue, really, back in the day when Jurgen Klopp started coming in. And also, who remembers Ralph Hasenhüttl? It was very much a possession and pressure game. One back by Spurs now. Level the 18-yard box of Paris Saint-Germain, away to my right. Spence rolls the ball back to Van der Ven. Back down the line to Spence. Backheel down the line, but it's gone straight out of play on the far side. And Hakimi will take the throw for Paris Saint-Germain. Just about 24 yards from the corner flag, he defends. Throws it in this time to Doué. Doué to Hakimi. Back to Doué, but he doesn't get there. It's taken off his toes by Pape Sarr. And Doué upends him. So it's a free kick for Spurs in a really dangerous position. Paris Saint-Germain, they defend the goal away to my right-hand side. And I would say that Lucas Chevalier He's going to look out of his goal. Now, if the penalty spot and centre spot is 12 o'clock on a clock face for Lucas Chevalier, he's looking at about 10 minutes past the hour here. It's right out by the apex on the corner of his 18-yard box. Kudus and Pedro cover their mouths and have a little chat about what's going to happen here. Interesting angle. Sets itself up to be fizzed across a retreating back line, you fancy, to see if there's something going to happen. And it's also a good position just to hang it up in the air and let some giants, then under the giants, Danzo, Romero and Van der Ven attack it. In it goes by Pedro, flicks off a head, and the head it flicks off was Mickey Van der Ven, but it goes up and over the top of the crossbar. Pedro is the man that picks himself up last, and it goes away for a goal kick. Very interesting that back in the day, Brentford had Ethan Pinnock. They also had the former Liverpool player Collins at centre-half. They've had some giant centre-halves and two decent wing-backs, Enrico Henry, and on the opposite side it might have been Vitalia Nelt. And they certainly played that way, and I think it's going to be the way that Spurs are going to line up. The Norgard will be the Palhinha, who's about to win a header and does so. Nuno Mendes gets away from Kudus. That's a little nibble, halfway line, right in front of the two technical areas, but he has far too much of a nibble. And finally, our referee today decides that Nuno Mendes gets a free kick. He rolls it back to the left-sided centre-half Pacho, across to the right-sided man, Marquinhos, and Marquinhos out to Hakimi. Excuse me. Chance now for Dembele on the football. Just running across field, plays it forward. Laid off on this near side. Cut out by Pedro. And all of a sudden, it is Spurs with Kudus. Kudus trying to get away from Vitinha. Good trackled back there by Dewey. This action just inside the half of Spurs. Kudus to Romero. Romero, 15 yards, being surrounded up to the feet of Richarlison on the halfway line. He's trying to turn away from three Paris Saint-Germain players. Toes it through a little hole and finds Bentancur. Bentancur back to Mickey Van der Ven, and Mickey Van der Ven's on the gallop. Looking to set Spence in behind Hakimi, and Spence showing Hakimi a clean pair of heels. Has to turn away from the dead ball line, supported this time by Mickey Van der Ven, who thought about a first time cross, then checked out of it. And in the end, Spurs float a ball across the face of the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area, courtesy of Pape Sarr. And the game sort of moves into a different sort of phase yet again. 20 minutes on the clock here. Paris Saint-Germain 0. Tottenham 0 here at the Stadio Friuli. Nobody really sort of setting the tone. It's a close encounter of the footballing kind, for want of a better phrase. Far side of the pitch, Rodrigo Bentancur being forced all the way back into his own half. Rolls it back on the angle to Vigario, who shuffles it back out down the Spurs' right-hand side, but straight out of play. Vigario, a mainstay in between the pipes. Hakimi with the throw now, just shy of the halfway line for Paris Saint-Germain. Hakimi to Doué. Doué all the way back to the edge of his own penalty area along the ground. Into the feet of Marquinhos. Marquinhos over to Pajo. Pajo up into the feet of the man coming short. Dembele, 6 yards inside his own half. Back to Pajo. And now to Vitinha. Vitinha 12 yards inside his own half. Plays it out to Dembele. Dembele, down the line it goes. The run's on for Barcola. Barcola stops it 2 yards from the dead ball line away to my left-hand side of Spurs. Into the feet of Doué. Doué tries to play it infield. Little ricochet favours Zaire Emery, who gets it back to Vitinha, who takes a thump in the back from Kudus, and the referee is there on the spot very quickly to say to Mohamed Kudus, that's not the sort of thing I want to see in this game. And in fairness, it was a fairly lively chest to the back. And it saw Vitinha's hair flurry in the wind as he fell to the ground. Also in slow motion on our replay monitors. Covered out Scalia. Down the right-hand side, rolls it back to Marquinhos. Marquinhos 12 yards inside the Spurs half. First touch allows it to be taken off his toes by Richarlison. Kudus breaks forward, Kudus slips it in for Richarlison, who's got a chance here. First time shot, he pulls a great save off of the body there of Chevalier, who puts it up and over the crossbar. Didn't look a lot on there as that ball was played through for Richarlison, running on the diagonal from left to right for Spurs. He won the ball back. Kudus with the break forward, and he tracked across from Kudus's left to right, and then he rifled a right foot shot, got a little deflection off the toe of Pajo, and it was a good palm over the top. Maybe one for the cameras now. I've seen it in slow motion for Lucas Chevalier. First corner of the game for Spurs. 24th minute of the game. Goalkeeper Chevalier looks out to his left. I look right down to the point of my right shoulder. It's this corner on the side. Kudus with a deep ball in. Here comes Bentancur, and he's flying. Didn't have any real accuracy. It looked like a free header. He came in from a long way out. And it's him and him alone. Headed the ball on the bottom corner of it, if there's such a thing, on a round ball. And tended to head the ball up and over the bar. But, what a start that would have been for Spurs. Spurs with the press, almost Chelsea-like. Knocked forward. Dembele won't get there. Bounce beats him. Sarr, a little instep back into his own half, and some 18 yards inside his own half. Retrieved by Christian Romero, who captain for Tottenham Hotspur. And the corner to Pedro. Pedro tries to just use the instep to guide it in behind the centre-backs of Paris Saint-Germain, but it goes straight out of play. And it looks as though there's going to be a drinks break now. It's a very, very warm day. 27 degrees, and it is still pre-season. But Spurs have the chance, having got their first bit of silverware with the victory in the Europa League last season. They have a chance of winning too. It's a one-off game for a trophy, and what better way to start the season? It has a little bit more lustre, in fairness, than maybe the Community Shield. Well, that was well contested at the weekend and won by Crystal Palace on penalties. And the transfer window remains, as we know, open for a few more days yet, so we still wait to see where the current Paris Saint-Germain keeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma, ends up, City or United or elsewhere in the world. One thing has been said, he won't be going to Italy according to his agent. And when you look at Crystal Palace, still plenty of transfer rumours going around for Marc Guéhi, and also Ebenezer Eze, who could well find himself on the move as well. All tends to be the domino effect late on in the transfer window. So we've had our drinks break. We've had 26 minutes of the game. It remains Paris Saint-Germain 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Richarlison's had a shot palmed over the crossbar by Chevalier just recently. Kvarat Skelia had a shot which he dragged wide of Vicardio's right post. But otherwise it's been a cagey first 26 minutes. Bettina on the ball, plays it back into his penalty area from 6 yards out of it, away to my right. Lucas Chevalier stops the ball, plays it to Marquinhos. Marquinhos under pressure from Richarlison, back to Chevalier. Chevalier now to Pajo, who's 2 yards from the dead ball line. Blocked very quickly by Kudus, but the ball still limps forward. Pedro and then Danzo do well to get the ball forward. Danzo tries to go outside Pajo. Pajo's just kept it out from going away for a corner. It's going to be a throw, which Kevin Danzo will take. On loan last year, made permanent of this year as well. We'd look to launch this into the penalty area away to my right-hand side. It's about 8 yards from the corner flag, defended on this near side by Nuno Mendes. Good throw in, headed away by Hakimi, edge of the box. Bentancur follows it back to the thrower. Danzo, right foot delivery into the box. Kudus looks to bring it down, headed away by Marquinhos. Bentancur all the way back to Vicario. Vicario 12 yards outside his penalty area, away to my left. Thumps the long ball forward again. Target is Pedro. Pedro just makes it difficult this time for Nuno Mendes to get there, but he battles past Pedro and sets the ball back to Pajo. Pajo goes back to Chevalier. Chevalier's first touch was a little bit loose. In the end, thumps it near side where Danzo is battling hard with Barcola. And in the end, Danzo puts the ball out of play right in front of the technical areas down beneath the vantage point of the cameras here at the Friuli Stadium. Nuno Mendes looks to try and play this ball forward. 28 on the clock. Running short is Joao. He takes it back, runs ball towards his own penalty area. Back into the feet this time of Marquinhos. Marquinhos to Hakimi. Forward to Zaire Emery. Back to Hakimi. Back to Marquinhos. And play forward by Pacho. Good turn and spin there. 6 yards inside his own half by Dembele. Sets away by Kola. He's into the box. Down to the dead ball line. Tries to play it in there. Good block by Pape Sarr. Remember, Bissouma is not playing today, having broken some disciplinary etiquette. He finds himself not in the squad today. Might have been into the midfield, but Pape Sarr is certainly covering the ground and making it very difficult to say I've done anything wrong, should those two be vying for a place in the Premier League opening round of fixtures this weekend. Corner. And it is the first corner for Paris Saint-Germain. Goal away to my left. Vicario looks out to his right. By the point of my left shoulder. Vitina to take. Just edging into the 30th minute of the game. Vitina waits. Referee's got a watching brief. Vitina, 30th minute of the game. Deep, right across the face of the penalty area. Not sure who you've seen there, but on the far side. Excellent work back there. Just to hold the ball up by Paulinho. Gets it back to Spence. Spence to Vicario. Vicario spoons it up to Richarlison. 12 yards inside his own half. Brings it down and spreads the play out to Porto. Porto, 12 yards inside the half of Paris Saint-Germain. Saw the diagonal on, but elected to keep the ball instead of maybe losing possession with a crossfield ball. Gets the ball back now. Can't play it in field, and it's tied it up nicely by the Paris Saint-Germain defence, and it goes all the way back to the keeper, Chevalier. Almost 30 minutes have elapsed here. Oh, what a loose ball by Marquinhos. He pounced upon, though, by the Spurs forward line. Very impressed with Pape Sarr at the moment. It was him that was furthest forward, and it was him that was furthest back just moments ago. Anyway, 30 minutes have elapsed here in the UEFA Super Cup. Paris Saint-Germain 0, Spurs 0. Pretty chanceless sort of first half, if we can be honest about it. And I suppose based on the Champions League victory of Paris Saint-Germain and the lowly position of Spurs in the Premier League last year, albeit beset by injuries, you would say that it's possibly a more inspired Spurs side in this first half than Paris Saint-Germain. Barcola sees Dewey upended by Richarlison. Rather lazy leg there from Richarlison. I understand that Luis Enrique is trying to improve the brilliance that they were of last year. And, at the moment, the balance looks a bit out of sync for me, but it is early season. I can't really say too much more than that. Hakimi goes forward. It's played inside. It's an awful ball by Zaire Emery. An even worse ball by Pape Sarr. Side wanted to keep the possession of the football. Midway inside to Spurs half. Spurs defender goal away to my left. Into the feet of Kvaratskhelia. Skelia gets it back. Little slip on the football by Zaire Emery. Kudos to Sarr. Excuse me. Sarr to Porto. Porto crossfield ball. Finds Kudos. Kudos looking for the overlapping run to Spence. Hakimi's there. Spence won it back with a sliding tackle. Brings it back for Tina with the clearance inside. Really good attack again by Spurs, and Mickey van der Ven will continue to bring the ball forward. Plays it to Bentancur. Bentancur to Danzo. Danzo out to Porto. Porto, 24 yards from the corner flag here. Whips the ball in right-footed. Marquinhos loose touch. First drop by Kudos is blocked by Marquinhos. That was pounced upon very, very well. And it's a little bit sloppy at times from Paris Saint-Germain. And the balance, not quite so... I'm concerned with the balance of Barcola down the left and Kvaratskhelia down the right. I almost fancy they need to try opposing flanks here to give Paris Saint-Germain a little bit more fluidity. Zayed Emery, Kvaratskhelia taking on Spence. Up to the edge of the 18-yard box of Spurs he goes, stops the ball, sets it back to Hakimi. Hakimi, doesn't give and go with Zayed Emery. Back it goes to Hakimi, back to Vitina. Vitina to Doué. Doué back to Hakimi. Hakimi's got outside of him Kvaratskhelia, who gives it to him. And Doué gets inside. Little reverse ball, it crosses it in. Vicario, 90 degrees to his goal line. Slips out and saves it safely with no royal blue Paris Saint-Germain cert around him. Kudus has to twist and turn as he receives the ball 12 yards outside of his own Spurs penalty area, way to my left, to get away from the watching brief there. Spence is now giving the ball away. He's won it back, and a lot of sloppy play prevalent from both sides. Back to Vicario, goal away to my left-hand side. And out to Pedro. Pedro sets it back. Finds Danso. Danso to Pedro. Spurs now trying to lift the ball to the halfway line, but it's a little bit errant and a little bit spurious. Easily picked up by Marquinhos, who finds Vitina. Vitina to Kvaratskhelia. Back to Vitina. Vitina to Kvaratskhelia. Infield to Dembele. Back to Vitina. Across the middle of the Spurs half. To the left of the halfway line. Attacked this time by Mendes. Back to Vitina. Now Dembele gets onto it. 24 yards out. Tries to get it on his left boot. Good tackle. Good covering tackle this time by Palhinha. Out to Richarlison. Richarlison goes over. Back out of play on the far side. Vitina comes forward. To Kvaratskhelia. Skhelia taking on Spence into the penalty area. Spence is there through his legs. Back out Dembele. First time snap shot from 13 yards goes up and over the crossbar. Really not the greatest bit of defensive work there by Mickey van der Ven. He just sort of, like a goalkeeper, just palmed it out to a real dangerous area, but with the instep of his boot. He really getting the upper hand in this game at the moment. Kudus with a shot from a loose touch from Marquinhos just a minute ago, which he blocked himself. Kudus along the ground from Vicario. Stepped in, good toe in this time by Pacho. 6 yards outside the penalty area, way to my left, and Mickey van der Ven plays it to Spence. Spence down the line, the run on now for Bentancur. Shoulder to shoulder with Zayed Emery, who comes away with the football and turns it all the way back to Chevalier and goal for Paris Saint-Germain away to my right-hand side. It really is sort of it's a titanic struggle at the moment, and not presented too many chances going forward. And, good effort, good desire shown by Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham Hotspur have both shown signs of very loose football in play at the moment. Doué. Hakimi. Vitina. Over the halfway line into Spurs territory, inside the centre circle on the Spurs side of the pitch. Spurs defend the goal away to my right. 37th minute now. Kvaratskhelia with a deep cross across the face of goal. Too high for Dembele. Poor header out by Danso. Ryan Emily couldn't get the shot off. Comes out to Hakimi with a first-time shot. This time blocked by the legs of Palhinha. Palhinha sees the ball squirt away on the far side of the pitch for a throw to Paris Saint-Germain. About 4 yards away from the corner flag, defended by Jed Spence on the far side of the pitch. Doué. Wandering away from goal. Hassled all the time by Spence. Plays it back to Vitina. Crossfield from Vitina to Mendes. Mendes trying to take on Bentancur, who gets a toe in. Kudus wins the ball back, plays it out to Pedro. Pedro down the line. Kudus have to go again. Good shoulder to shoulder there from Kudus and Nuno Mendes, right in front of a man called Luis Enrique, who knew the foul was coming. Which way it went, he didn't know. But our referee, Joao Pinheiro, has actually turned round and said that the foul is against the Spurs man. Nuno Mendes a little bit over physical. As Frank is applauding the application of his Spurs side. Vicario, a yard and a half inside the Paris Saint-Germain half. Paris Saint-Germain defend the goal away to my right-hand side. Ball up. Chamberlain a long way offside here. Sweeps a diagonal from right to left. Van der Ven goes up. First time effort. Stabbed into the back of the net. This time by Mickey Van der Ven. He puts Spurs up. It's a scruffy goal. Chevalier stopped the first effort onto the crossbar. And it came out and it was stabbed home by the big Belgian centre-half, Mickey Van der Ven. And Spurs take the lead. The crossfield diagonal free kick by Vicario. Headed into the penalty area, not dealt with at all by the Paris Saint-Germain defence. Vicario with a long diagonal. And at the back there, it's a big header by Palhinha. Ball breaks off the head. And it's played forward by Palhinha, saved off the bar by Chevalier. And who's there to pick the pieces up? As the rebound comes out from 5 yards from Mickey Van der Ven. Tottenham maybe get a little bit of luck. But as everybody says, the more you practice, the more luck you get. And Thomas Frank's start of really senior competitive football sees them going towards a half-time interval here. A goal up through Mickey Van der Ven. And he did enjoy that one as well. Big diagonal by Vicario. Headed in on the far side. I think it will be a goal check. Just waiting for it. Goal stands. Paris Saint-Germain 0. Tottenham Hotspur 1. Let's see what the Champions League champions have got to do against the Europa League champions. A little bit Route 1, a little bit Brentford-esque, and a little bit of a goal. Spurs take the lead. Crossfield diagonal, headed back into the box. Palhinha battled, got a shot off towards goal. Chevalier up onto the crossbar and back for Mickey Van der Ven to tuck into the back of the net. And Paris Saint-Germain, who will look like a once-in-a-generation side, maybe just after their defeat by Chelsea, where in fairness they were made to look a little bit ordinary, but what can you take from a Club World Cup? Pacho to Mendes, back to Pacho. Pacho 20 yards inside his own half with Paris Saint-Germain. Across to Marquinhos to Vitina. Vitina lifting the centre circle on the Paris Saint-Germain side of the pitch, plays it out to the left back Nuno Mendes, and Mendes back to Vitina. Under pressure straight away from Kudus. Back it goes this time to Pacho and square to Marquinhos. Marquinhos. There's Paris Saint-Germain missing the influential midfielder. Because obviously Zaire Emery is in the squad at the moment. Now Barcola tries to take on Pedro, skins him into the box he goes, tries to pull it back. Who's there? Danzo with the clearance. Puts it out for a corner. Yeah, it is Fabian Ruiz who is starting the game. He's very influential. So missing at the moment. Normally plays alongside in the middle of the park corner. Gone away to my left. Vicario looks out to his right. Short this time by Vitina to Dembele. Doué with the shot. This time comes off the legs of the covering Richarlison on the edge of the box, and ball goes away for Another corner to Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, Ruiz is on the bench. Certainly a player that worked very well, but Zaire Emery given the task in the middle of the park alongside Vitina. Ricardo looks at Vitina, who takes a corner, a little give and go with Douay. Richarlison will just see this setup play. The Spurs fans behind the goal away to my left-hand side cheer loudly as he ushers it out for a goal kick. Into the 44th minute. Goal by Mickey van der Ven is the one that separates the sides here. Pinheiro takes his time spotting the ball up in the 6-yard box away to my left-hand side. Well, it's been a very good, if it stays this way, 45 for Spurs. I won't say they've dominated proceedings, but their desire has been somewhat a little better than Paris Saint-Germain, who look a bit of a darker shade of what we've seen, the brightness that they've given us in European football recently. Looked over the top. Richarlison, I think, could be flagged offside when this breaks down, but he's, for the moment, still going. Little back heel to Kudus on this near side. Referee's assistant on his near side says nothing doing. Kudus skins Papo, clips the ball in right-footed, deep. Over the head of Spence on the far side, who chases out that far touchline to retrieve the situation. Here goes to Van der Ven, the goal scorer, inside to Bentancur, back out to Jed Spence. Down the line for the Bentancur, off the heels of Hakimi. It's going to be a throw to Spurs. Level with the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area away to my right-hand side as we go into the 45th minute. Going to be at least 2 or 3 minutes added on, and we'll have a drink stop. It's a very warm night here. Long throw specialist Danzo. Amble's over on the far side to take this. Danzo 12 yards away from the corner flag on the far side, which is the right side of the Paris Saint-Germain defence. Launch it into the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area. Danzo high out to the front post. Away though. Bentancur gets the ball back to Danzo. Danzo squirts the ball back to Spence. Spence 30 yards out, fires a shot in off the heels of Douay. Balloons up in the air. Danzo heads it in towards the penalty spot. Richarlison with a first time and a flicked header by Kudus hits the post to the post and comes out. And Paris Saint-Germain, once again, a little bit unnerved at the back. And foul has been given in that melee to start with, but Paris Saint-Germain, one thing they didn't like against Chelsea in the World Cup was playing under pressure. And Spurs have taken this into this game. There's a lot of closing down. You know, Paris Saint-Germain, they're playing the ball, and they're not even 6 yards away from their own dead ball line. Mendes down the line to Barcola. Barcola is 8 yards away from his own dead ball line. He's coming that deep. He plays on the left of a front three to receive the football. Such is the want of Paris Saint-Germain to try and take football, but such is the press from Spurs. We're into 1 additional minute of time to be added on. Swung across the field of play. Referee Joao Pinheiro looks at his watch and decides that is enough for the first half here. The Stadio Friuli in Italy, in Udine here. The first half of the UEFA Super Cup has indeed finished here, and it's Spurs that lead through Mickey van der Ven's goal, which went in on 39 minutes after Chevalier put the ball on the bar from a shot from Barlinia, and the rebound fell nicely for Mickey van der Ven. 1-0 at the break. Do join me for the second half.
Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page.
Hello, welcome back to live commentary of the UEFA Super Cup from the Stadio Friuli here in Udine, in Udinese's ground in Italy. Paris Saint-Germain nil, Spurs 1 at the break. And it's been a pretty good first half, in all fairness, for the Tottenham side. Although they have been outclassed and they've lost as much possession, they have the goal that means a difference. And taking the team's performance, you really do just think that Spurs have looked at a very determined outfit here. Very much indeed. Thomas on the goal in 39 minutes. Cardio with a raking diagonal free kick headed in by Romero. Van der Ven made himself a little bit of a nuisance alongside Marquinhos. Ball dropped inside the penalty area to Palidi, who shot from the bar. The keeper, Chevalier, and it came back out from Van der Ven to 5 yards. Looking at the Paris Saint-Germain side, they find Ruiz in the middle of the park. Joao Neves has got suspension. It's just causing a little bit of problem. All blue for Paris Saint-Germain. Traditional home kit, all white. For Spurs as Vitinho kicks for touch. Puts it straight out of play. Picked up from the start of the second half. Little kick to Spurs, who defended all the way to my right in his second half, attacked all the way to my left as well, where the Spurs fans are. What I can tell you, let's run through the lineups for you now. It is for Paris Saint-Germain, Chevalier in goal, for Mendes, Pedro, Marquinhos, and Udine. On the right back, they have their Joao, Dina, Zaire, Emery as the midfield house. They have White, good as well. Back three of Danto on the right, centre with Harry and left of there. Two wing backs today. Jens Spence down the left and down the right, Pedro Porro. Part of the midfield, it is of course the star of Rodrigo Bentancur, just playing more like a defensive midfield. That was indeed Barlinha. By Paris Saint-Germain again. Richarlison's into the box, close shot, palmed away by Chevalier, knocked away as he goes back out there by Patina. Situation, Mickey Van der Ven goes forward from the Spurs today. It is just off the top of the line where Richarlison is, and very, very solid unit from Tottenham Hotspur. Van der Ven, caught late by Escalera. To Spurs, 30 to 40 yards away from the goal. Instead of on the route rumoured to be going to Manchester City, Sanderson is lined up for a move elsewhere. Wait to see changes or long term will go on this transfer window. With the free kick, lifts it in, round the back, Romero, free header across the face and into the back of the net. And Lucas Chevalier should have done a lot better. Club captain Lucas Romero, has headed it down to Chevalier's left-hand side and it's gone straight through the keeper. And if Donnarumma is watching that, he'll be thinking, I don't want to stay put. Good delivery by Porro, round the back for Romero, on the angle, heads it across, and I have to say, Lucas Chevalier, that is not the same of a keeper. You'd expect him to do better than that. I know it's bounced just in front of him. Good header down, but he's never looked in his arms. I'm no goalkeeper, I'm a commentator, that's what I'm paid to do. But I'm watching the body language of Chevalier as he goes to get to this ball. And it looks all wrong. And Romero spikes away, he thought he was going to be safe. Porro to Romero, Romero through Chevalier, and it's 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. Club captain Christian Romero has doubled the advantage shortly into the second half. What a word. The last person in the world that want to heap pressure on a signing, but there will be a few people looking at that attempt of a save by Lucas Chevalier, and there will be a few that will be thinking, seriously? That's a question that might be thrown out there. It just looked an awful attempt to clear the goal bound header. Big bounce in front of him, a little bit of consequence to that, but I think most goalkeepers would turn around and say, I should have saved that. Ball forward this time, Marquinhos, and that's Galea. Out on the near side to Hakimi infield to Doué forward. Lovely layoff, Galea trying to get to the dead ball line. Romero absolutely flashing across the block into the fourth corner in the game for Paris Saint-Germain, who have looked to shadow to the side but completely thumped Real Madrid. But having said that, Chelsea don't all loathe them. Done a great job on them in the World Club Cup. Crossed in by Dembele. That's a really brave header at the back post. Just as Galea tried an overhead kick. And I have to say that the Spurs players are making a little bit more. Galea has got his back to goal. He's hooking it blindly forward when Mickey Van der Ven has stuck his head in where Angels fear to tread. And they've had a little bit of a push and a shove here at Galea, but he had no idea that Mickey Van der Ven was going to get there. And I think the protestation and the rather heavy-handed attitude of Galea is Spurs defenders was a little bit unjust. I don't think Galea is like that player. He had no idea that Mickey Van der Ven was head was going to pop up and hurt that moment in time over his shoulder. Vicario goal away to my right, 50th in the game here. Paris Saint-Germain 0 Spurs 2. You have this tuned in. Thank you very much. Wherever you are in the world, it'd be lovely to hear from you. If you recognise my dulcet tones. Played by Sartre Kudus. Kudus trying to twist away. Duway dispossesses him. Duway up towards the halfway line, over the halfway line. And by 3, Bentancur, Richarlison. Richarlison gets away from Kvaratskhelia. Richarlison clever enough just to throw his body across, and the Georgian winger through the back of him, hits him to the floor. Should really tell you that the other team involved tonight, Joao, Pinheiro, the Portuguese referee, assisted by Bruno Jesus and Luciano Maia of Portugal. And the VAR is run by Tiago Martins of Portugal, whilst Boardman on the side of the pitch, the fourth official is Elchin Mazeev from Azerbaijan. 52 on the clock. Paris Saint-Germain 0, Tottenham 2, and the Tottenham fans behind the goal all the way to my left-hand side where they're attacking as a header goes in this time from Danzo from a sweet cross from Kudos, hits the side netting of Chevalier's neck away to my left-hand side. Paris Saint-Germain's defence. Wales are really being exposed here. That changes in there. Rear guard, lovely hook on there by Barcola, trying to find Dembele, but he's thwarted by the auspices and the good look on by Mickey Van der Veer. He's challenged in the middle of the park by Bentancur, has seen Medina go down in a heap, and then Richarlison gets a yellow card. Richarlison's not happy about that, I declare this. I'm not sure I would have been too. Richarlison, the first recipient of the yellow card syndrome here in the UEFA Super Cup. There's one thing about Richarlison. I'd like to meet Richarlison because if you get a face, if you look at a person's face when it's wrestling, so unaware, not posing, not doing anything else, you would Richarlison delaying the restart, gets the yellow card, but he always looks like a football field. I'm sure he's quite a happy chap. He's nothing you can see it was, but the way he's always looking, he always has a bit of a frown on, a bit of a sullen look. That's just my take on it. But so he breaks forward now, and then if he wants it goes by the goal scorer Romero. Kudus is under it. Clint Harbour and Marquinhos taken off his toes by Duo. This is that of Kudus. Inside the Spurs half. Spurs defend the goal away to my right hand side. They have a 2-goal lead, which in any walks of life against Paris Saint-Germain, or the Paris Saint-Germain that we all knew and saw against Real Madrid in the Champions League final, you would be possibly saying, you know, that's nothing. They've got a side full of talent. They do have a side full of talent, but today they are having, currently after 55 minutes, losing by 2-0, a little bit of an indifferent game. Back they're looking decidedly rattled. Headed on, Richarlison gets it down, Marquinhos skips the ball away from his own penalty area. Dembele beats the ball by Romero, chests it down in the middle of the park, Medina loses out, Sarr dispossesses him. Once he goes to Porro to Sarr again, Sarr being tracked by Anthony, lovely backfield, Porro's in, then he goes under the challenge. Now, Mendes and Co see the ball go away. Ball on the far side. Barcola, trying to run outside his man, Hassan, pace of Danzo, pace is static but very solid. And Romero played back to the edge of the box. His chance this time for Duway. Step through 2 or 3. Richarlison's back there, gets offended. And this is a very... It's Barcola that's got a yellow card here for that trip. I actually don't think it was Barcola. I thought it was Duway. He's not having it, but what I will say, Barcola showed good pace there. So it's a little bit on the wrong side. It was Duway. Just got a replay of Richarlison going back. It was Duway that was with a foul, but Mendes with a challenge on Porro, who thought it was a penalty. He was still protesting to the referee up the other end of the field. Anyway, either way, we're into the 56 minutes. Paris Saint-Germain 0, Tottenham 2. If you're a Spurs fan, drove them in. If you're a Paris Saint-Germain fan, you are possibly thinking, what's happened to my side? Forest not looked its normal cohesive unit today. Maybe Frank's formation desired effect. Escalaya gets Spence battling up. Good work by Spence, who's judged for foul. He's not happy with that decision at all. Having said that, a little degree there, I thought he was a little hard done by. You will mind the commentator. Not all the rules of the laws of Football Association. Spence is then upended by Escalaya. There's a bit of edge at the moment, and it's coming from the fact that Paris Saint-Germain, no, they're not playing very well. Now, big question. It's always the way forward. Depends where you look. Is this because Spurs are not letting them play well because they're playing so well themselves? I tend to think it is today. I have to say, I haven't seen this Paris Saint-Germain back four caught out as much as they have been today. I know it hasn't been gilt-edged chances, but they've been a little bit of a mess. They've not been a unit. Kudus brings the ball down to the way from Papo, but Katina ties up and finds Joao back this time to Nuno Mendes. Oh, Pajo is dispossessed by Pape Sarr and then pulled back. Pajo gets a yellow card. And again, a little bit of dwelling on the football. And they are really struggling with the pressure. Pape Sarr's had a really good game. In fairness, that yellow card stops a very promising opening, maybe coming forward. Who's or attempt to clear the ball into the second goal. Could be playing on his mind here. 58th minute. All the way to my left. Chevalier. In for Luigi Donnarumma, who's rumoured to be going to one of the Manchester clubs. Which one we don't know. City seem favourites. Instead of his goal. This is about 5 past the hour in 12 o'clock. It's a penalty spot and centre spotters. Chevalier looks out of his goal. Ball is a yard outside the penalty area, 29 yards out. Pedro to strike it. Right footed. And the wall it goes. And just wide of Chevalier's right post. So taking a little bit of a deflection. It's going to be a corner to Tottenham Hotspur. Second corner of the game. I'll tell you what, if that was the other side of the post, state the obvious, it would have been a goal, but Lucas Chevalier would have been absolutely nowhere near it. That far wide after a deflection. Spurs enjoying themselves here in the UEFA Super Cup. 2 goals to the good. With just over half an hour to go. Another piece of silverware. London buses 2 at a time into the front post. It goes end of the way by Latina. Kudus with the ball back. Instead it's a shift and rolls it back for the halfway line where Spence, right footed, plays across field ball. Easy for Nuno Mendes to bring it down. He's done by Richarlison just outside his penalty area. Paris Saint-Germain plays it to Pajo. Pajo to Marquinhos. Under pressure from Kudus. And already the Brentford-esque essence of the football of Thomas Frank coming out in the Spurs side. And they really are looking half decent. Romero gets the ball. So ball across to Mickey van der Ven, who steps away from Escalaya. Just pulls him on the shoulder, pulls him round. It's going to be a substitution now. And it is Fabian Ruiz coming on. And he is taking the foot in place of Escalaya. Ruiz, who I think is pivotal to the way Paris Saint-Germain performed last year. Comes on. Interested now, though, that it's going to be Doué and Barcola that flank with some Dembele at the top of the fire. To say in the first half, if you were listening, I was surprised that Escalaya was going down the right flank, not really down the left last time I'd seen him play. He likes to go down the left, inverted wing and coming on his right. Didn't see much ball at all in this game. Barcola going down the other flank. Spurs now with a chance to throw it into the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area. Captain Danzo cuts across from the right side into back 3 over on the left hand side. Fourth official telling him to get on with them. We're into the 61st minute here. Paris Saint-Germain 0, Tottenham 2, sorry. Long throw into the box. Ended up in the end by Marquinhos. Headed forward by Palhinha. Good break to Sarr. Sarr with a shot. Chevalier's down, but in the penalty area. Nuno Mendes has been fouled by Kudus in the melee. Chevalier with a save. He'll feel a lot better with that one. The ball broke in. It's an overhead kick by Kudus. Nuno Mendes went down, didn't hit the top of the face as he says. And now coming Michaelescu. Chevalier with a start. Another Sarr shot. About a yard. And ball goes away, but a free kick has been given. Saint-Germain defending the goal away to my left. Moves the ball forward. It has been a dominant Spurs performance to date. What they mustn't do is Danzo's now going to get a yellow card for all the way, delaying the restart. All of a sudden, Joao is finding himself to be busy dishing the cards out in August. Thrown in Ruiz for the first time, plays it far to the can't control it. Danzo kicks the ball over the halfway line, it's the half of Paris Saint-Germain. Comes off the knees of Nuno Mendes and is allowed to go out and play by Pedro on the far side of the pitch. And Danzo about to launch it forward. It's about 3 yards inside the half of Paris Saint-Germain, which is to the left of the halfway line as I face the pitch. Thrown long, headed away this time by Pedro. Barcola to Ruiz into Zaire Emery out to Hakimi 6 yards, 12 yards over the halfway line. Little flick ball out this time to Joao. Great defensive work by Rodrigo Bentancur. I like the Spurs in shaping Kulusevski in the lineup today. Mr. Postecoglou lost with a lot of his stars last year through injury. Mostly in the rear guard in fairness. Will be sat back watching this side, thinking running out another year. Chance for Hakimi, lays it down, real charge, blocked by a great saving challenge by Mickey van der Ven when it looked as though it's going to be a goal. Flag's gone up for offside in the build-up. But Mickey van der Ven had no idea that that was offside. It was a great run through. Zaire Emery got the lay down. Ball was flicked through. Great run by Hakimi. Just a fraction offside, laid it back to Zaire Emery. And then missed the first one, and then on the floor turned and stretched the leg out, and it was shot back in by 7 yards from Mickey van der Ven. Excellent work, first goal tonight, and terrific defensive work here. 64 on the clock. Ball forward by Ricardo. Bentancur comes along, becomes successful down the Pape Sarr, who gets a little bit of a shove in the back. He says nothing good. The Spurs will have the throw in. 12 yards inside the half of Paris Saint-Germain. Is the question. This is a question I'm going to pop out there. We witnessed a Paris Saint-Germain side in the quarterfinals and semi-finals of the Champions League, waltzed to the final of Ligue 1 and won it, and they played some scintillating football in the World Club Championships, but they were then being sounded by Chelsea by 3 goals to 0. And all of a sudden, the side that looked as though they were going to dominate European football, in my opinion, for a long time, it just looked imperious the way they went forward. They've come up against another side who decided to set their scoreline tonight in Spurs with a set pattern of play. And you question the ability, because technically they are very, very good, Paris Saint-Germain. Just question whether they are that side you thought they were going to be. Sarr gets the ball forward. They get the shot down, blocked by the legs of Marquinhos. The flag has gone up for offside. But you do question whether they can be all concrete champions. You know, sometimes you have to really, that's what I'm looking for, tough it out, grind it out. Always think back to the sides. There's games where, you know, it's not going to be late play, it's going to be a low block, whatever, but you're going to have to do something. And at the moment, they're now starting to try and pick the pace up, but it's a little too late here. 65 on the clock, Paris Saint-Germain 0, Spurs 2. Barcola cuts in 8 yards outside the penalty area, square ball to Emily into the feet of Joao, placed by Spence, going in field, fired the shot, great save by Pinheiro, comes out, good bit of footwork this time by Ruiz. Now it is 2-1. fired in by Barcola. Flag has gone up for offside again. Ball was played in. Fabio Ruiz always lurking dangerously offside. Went out to him, so yeah, you can understand that flag being raised. Good finish by Barcola. Seems to have a bit of cramp in the right leg. Ruiz. Always get the man that'll tell you at the back if you're looking across the line. Play them on or play them off. No trouble. Fabio Ruiz always knew that he was going to be the offside. Good finish by Barcola through the legs of Pinheiro. That's what at the moment is stopped the first shot in. Back to Barcola from Ruiz. He's afterward, which is causing a little bit of discomfort. Barcola. Goes goal is now off and he's replaced by Mumbai. Another change as well. Comes Zaire Emery as well. All of a sudden, changes forward from the side from Paris Saint-Germain. For them to watch. Felt like most of us would have felt the Spurs might have been up against it in this game, but it's been completely the other way round. Played it with Mike, coming down his near side, shoulder to shoulder, good work by Spence. It's the ball off the feet of play away for a goal kick to Spurs. Wait am I right? In the come on to replace Zaire Emery in the middle of the park. Guardiola. My right, Spurs who lead by 2 goals to 0 in this UEFA Super Cup. Stadio Friuli in Italy. This is great. To that come by Palenia to Kudos back to Benton and to Pape Sarr. Follows it in from the touchline, plays it midfield to Ruiz to Mendes down the line on the far side to Joao. He tries to turn it down the line, blocked by Danzo, throw which Ruiz takes 40 yards inside the Tottenham half, goes to the right of the halfway line side face of pitch. Cross field this time. Mendes to Hakimi, right back, 12 yards outside the penalty area of Spurs. And wants it back this time to Kang In Lee. To Hakimi, side to Lee. Lee slips it through, wide with a cross into the one with the Pedro sharp box. As he comes in from his left by Romero, picks up the game by Marquinhos to Hakimi. Hakimi to Lee. Marquinhos watches Hakimi playing across the pitch and find Bettina. Bettina plays it out this time to Ruiz. Ruiz sees the ball on the overlap, played in. Far side by Joao, but it's headed away by Spurs, picked up again by Medina. Steps around Palenia. Ruiz out on the far side. Comes to Joao to lift it into the boxes. Half decent ball in, but always running towards the keeper Vicario, who picks it up on the bounce as it's curled in. So it has been reasonably, just get a little replay monitor of the offside decision. Momentarily back from Barcola with the ball back and really to be decisive as it was on the website by Fabio Ruiz, but it seems to have girded the loins here of Paris Saint-Germain. Ruiz, then belly first touches loose and it thumps it against them. Spurs away the far side, followed only half clear, 70 on the clock. Paris Saint-Germain nil, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Goal from 39 by Mickey van der Ven, and then straight after the break from 48 by Christian Romero. The new keeper from Paris Saint-Germain seemed to make an awful bit of a wreck as that header came down from Romero. Indeed, when you look at his celebration on replay, he's running back as he thinks he's going to be safe. Substitute goes to the back of the net, checks off to survive. Ball back from Ruiz, who would have been offside. Dembele sweeps it right-footed wide of Vicario's left post from some 12 yards, but again, Ruiz to play right off the shoulder of the Spurs rear guard, but Paris Saint-Germain that we were all engrossed and enthralled by the back end of last season. Dominic Solanke is about to come on, and so is Archie Gray. Dominic Solanke is ready to come on for Joao. Solanke, no doubt, towards the top. It's a drinks break here, 72nd of the game. Charlison being replaced by Dominic Solanke. He scored 20 goals last year in the three-hit season. Be looking to claim his front spot as Thomas Frankie goes into a meltdown, but he's certainly checking the watching it again, the replay. It does bounce in front of Chevalier, but he always looks awkward for it. You know? I question it. The Spurs fans, they won't question it at all. Enrique's side very much being second best throughout this game, which is to do with their own performance on the football. They are waiting for Joao Neves to come back in. He's certainly one-match suspension. Got Ruiz in there alongside Vitina. Vitina hasn't quite looked Vitina, if that makes sense, in the game. Dario thumbs the ball. By veteran court, shifted down by Kudus. Kudus is a judge from hand the ball. But not too sure that was actually the right. The team takes it quickly 12 yards inside the PSG half, which is to the left of the halfway line. Outside the pitch, that Duet step around Potter, wants to go infield. Back towards the halfway line to Vitina. Square this time to Marquinhos. Marquinhos out to the right. Down back to Pedro. Ruiz and then pressure to Marquinhos. Possession here. Lee tries to thread the island in blocked by Pape Sarr. Goes out of play and scores again the throw, which I think is a little bit fortuitous. Yet Spence will be the man to take the throw. Then 15 yards. To the side. Forward. Given away by Solanke. Through ball by White line. Taking all the way by right hand side. Doing tries to step inside of Potter and dispossesses him. Potter all his time to Solanke. Solanke back to Potter. Potter got the mark. Replaced by Mendoza. This is man that turns all the way back to Chevalier, his keeper. Away from the left hand side here. Come forward again. No. Right here. Ruiz driving forward. Short pass. This time to Vitina. Vitina square to Gagin Lee. Cross now to White. Makes his penalty here and tries to play it in one by Sarr's legs. White puts it back to Hakimi. Hakimi to Gagin Lee. Back to his left foot, rolls it back to. So, adventurous, either of the fullbacks in fairness, it's a case where your wing-backs keep your adventurous fullbacks back, if that makes sense. Hold them back until the attack. Deep into the corner it goes, kept it by Ibrahim right, sets it back out to the level of the 18-yard box to Spurs. Hakimi, give and go with Vitina, back down the line on his near side of the fight. Trying to take on Spence. It's backwards and doesn't go past it, sets it out to Vitina. Vitina puts the ball square to his left to Ruiz. Ruiz out to Duet. Inside, lifts the ball in. headed away by Bentancur. Joao, 12 yards inside the Spurs half. Such plays into the right side in centre half. Marquinhos forward to Vitina. Vitina out to Hakimi. Hakimi deep across the face of goal. Doué picks the ball up on the far side. Far touchline. Joao tells Archie Gray to cover off Nuno Mendes. Ball goes to Mendes and then back to Doué. Doué trying to go outside of Pedro. And Pedro just takes the ball off him and Doué fouls him. A little moment of play there from a really talented player called Doué. Shows how out of sorts Paris Saint-Germain look at the moment. There is going to be a change here now. And it is going to be Gonçalo Ramos coming on for Doué. When he goes off, Doué disappointed with his performance today, but it's the performance bad or it's the case of Spurs being that good. That is the situation, but Ramos is on. One more forward by Vicaria. He doesn't win it halfway back, and so scoots it back towards his own goal. Headed away by Romero. Walks back to the Paris Saint-Germain half. Mendes is flattened on the far side by a rather exuberant public side. Somebody is broken great side to open up. There's a left back, so it's back, and then there's a little bit of jousting in the middle of the park between Archie Gray and Pedro. Doué makes his way behind the goal right away, right-hand side. Comes on this near touchline. Southern face for him now. Forward by Hakimi, up the halfway line finds Dembele. Dembele now placed by Bentancur. Nancy squeezes on Bentancur up to the edge of the box, tries to roll it in, but support ball into Ramos. Really easy inside his own penalty area by Romero. One back by Marquinhos to Hakimi. Hakimi to Lee. Lee square, midway point of the Spurs half for Vitina. Vitina out now. And a chance for a bite coming off the other flank now. Tries to go outside of Pedro, doubled up with Gray, gets it back to the edge of the box to Vitina. Vitina faced by Archie Gray, forces him across the face of the goal. Flips a lovely ball out to his near side. Smets has to block off the cross by Dembele. Does so. Paris Saint-Germain just trying to turn the tap on at the moment. Give a go here. Hakimi gets the ball back from Dembele, plays it in, but Mickey van der Ven's there to clear the football. If you're a Spurs fan waiting to pick up another pot, you will indeed be looking at the clock. We're into the 79th minute. Matisse Tell is now coming on, and he is going to replace Mohamed Kudus. Tell comes on. Thomas Frank shivers his man as he walks past him into the technical area. Mohamed Kudus, well done. And Thomas Frank will be very happy with the discipline shown. Vitina with a shot from distance, 30 yards out, about 8 yards over the top of Vicario's crossbar. Has been a very, very energised Spurs performance and a different style of play. Well, it's a different style than what we expected on the flank line. But the question right before a ball is kicked whether the Spurs stars in inverted commas will be ready to play the Thomas Frank way and show people they quite like it. Pick up their first bit of silverware of the season with this with a victory over Paris Saint-Germain. I think every single one of those players from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will think to themselves, you know what, we've got a winning formula here, we knew this would be okay. Good run on the far side of the gate, and then there's down to the Spurs near the ball line, away by right hand side. Flat footed though, Danzo holds him up, plays it back, White plays it inside to Ruiz, back to Vitina, and just 12 yards inside the Spurs half now, where to Marquinhos. And this Spurs left-hand side, Dembele is into the box, rolls the ball back to Kang in Lee, and I have to say, one of the most uncomfortable-looking challenges by Matisse Tell. He just literally rolled through the back of his player. It was given away here in the 81st minute. Saint-Germain free kick. Well, it's not even half a yard outside the 18-yard box. The blessing at this point would be that it's very difficult to get the ball up and down from this position. I'm talking world-class players here, so maybe that's going to play a little significance. Ricardo, penalty spot, centre spot from the centre of the goal, away to my right-hand side. It'll be 12 o'clock. He's looking out to the left of the 12 o'clock, so it's about 7 minutes to the hour. It's right, virtually on the edge of the box. Grant excluder is Spence. Solanke, Mickey van der Ven, Danzo, Court, Koa in the wall. TV looks as though he's going to measure this one up. Kangin Lee goes round the wall, hits the wall, comes out. Hakimi with another chance. Well, we've got to play it down with a head injury. The man that's down holding his face. No, I believe Pedro borrowed. Looking on the side with the shoulder, with the dark arts. You'll see this again. It's the point of the right shoulder. And off he goes with a Rivaldo-esque clutching of the face, and the referee, when he got to see the incident once, on the 20th of his feet, realised that it was possibly a head injury. We know different, because I told you and I saw the replay monitor here. Hope you're enjoying this UEFA Super Cup here from the Stadio Friuli. There's this home ground, and currently goals on the 39th minute. Ricardo diagonal in the first half, with the header down. Van der Ven was buttoned away by Keenan, out to Balinia, who shot from 8 yards, was pulled onto the bar by Chevalier. Popped out, was turned in by Mickey van der Ven for a 1-goal lead to Spurs at the break, and in 48 minutes, free header from the Porto free kick saw Romero heading goalwards. Chevalier really trying to shovel the ball away and missed it completely, made a right break into the back of the net, so much so if you watch the replay, just put your eyes on Romero. He actually believes that the ball is going to be saved and then has to look at it, check and go away and goal. Celebration then occurs. Ball going forward again. Lee tries to put it in, blocked on this near side by Matisse Tell. Play-Doh. It's a chance for PSG to try and get one back. 1-3-2. Chance down to the dead ball line and played it by Ruiz off the body this time. For Danzo, it's going to be a corner for Luis Enrique's side. He looks a forlorn figure, does Luis Enrique. I think he knows they haven't hit the heights they have done before. People often lauding the fact that Chelsea is this the blueprint on how to beat the side from Paris Saint-Germain? Well, added to the fact that they're missing a couple of players at the start of the game in the middle of the park, Neves, Ruiz and Bettina, and normally the field triumvirate. See the Donnarumma situation hanging around as well. It looks as though Spurs have applied the same pressure, and it has been hard as Kangin Lee fires it in for 2-1. Really good shot by Lee. 85th minute, the ball came out of the penalty area as long as music there, and Kangin Lee rifled it in into the bottom corner from a good 23 yards. Well, it'll be nervy times now for Spurs, and Paris Saint-Germain will now have to up the ante and drive at it. Spurs will have to go the other way. They'll have to absorb and try and play the perfect away tie if that's possible. They're running with the ball in, headed away by Romero. Kangin Lee received it 20 yards out. He flashed a shot in as Bettina found him. Spurs just got to weather a wee bit of a stormy fancy. Bergvall looks as though he's being made ready down on the touchline. Here we are, 86th minute of the game. 86th minute of the game. It's Paris Saint-Germain 1. Tottenham Hotspur 2. Kangin Lee with a goal on 85. Makes the last 5 minutes a little bit interesting. Danzo's going to launch this into the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area. On the angle here. The run way inside the half. Really have to launch this towards that 6-yard box, which he does so. Header away by Marquinhos. Into the box, Pedro gets it down. Referee says a foul. Pedro still carries on. You're lucky here, Pedro. He's already kicked the ball away once for a yellow card. It's another shot. The referee has not been that as trying to delay the restart. Medina to Ruiz. Ruiz out to Nuno Mendes, who's first touch, knocks over his boot. And then a play for a throw to Tottenham Hotspur. Can this be 2-2 in terms of silverware for Tottenham Hotspur? Postecoglou, one for Thomas Frank. What a great start that would be for him. Thrown down the line by Danzo. Work on the far side this time. Working hard by Pepe Sarr. Lost down. Turned in field just outside the Paris Saint-Germain penalty area. Away to my left. Hakimi. Dembele 12 yards inside his own half. Spins, bolts him up, plays it to Pinheiro. Pinheiro to Pato. Pato out to Nuno Mendes, up to the halfway line. Paris Saint-Germain attack the goal of Spurs away to my right hand side. It goes this time by to Pinheiro, who tries to stand it over the top of the back. Three of Spurs headed away by Danzo. Hooked on by Solanke. Up by Pajo, 18 yards inside the Paris Saint-Germain half. Everybody now, wherever you are in the world, will want to know what the clock says. The clock says we're into the 88th minute. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Tottenham 2. For the UEFA Super Cup here. Ruiz finds Dembele. Dembele's got the overlapping run from Hakimi. Falls to the wide. Down to Charles. Their ball out. Rolls it back to Marquinhos. Marquinhos into Ruiz. Ruiz back out to Hakimi. Level with the 18-yard box. Away from the ball into the box. Headed away by Bentancur. Marquinhos scurries back to the halfway line. It's a square this time to Pajo. Pajo to Vitina. Vitina inside the centre circle. Spurs side of the pitch, which is to the right of the halfway line. Hakimi, Dembele with a cross off the legs of Spence, corner to Paris Saint-Germain. Will this be that other trait the champions have? Not playing well and trying to get something out of a game that they looked dead and buried in. Vicario gone away to my right, looks out to his left, right down by the point of my right shoulder. Played out to the edge of the box, shot comes in, deflected off the head there of a Spurs defender and away for another corner. See who that man was, but it was a final shot in. It's Dominic Solanke that turns it up and over the crossbar. So there's Romero. Will be another corner to Paris Saint-Germain. 89 on the clock. Joao Pinheiro signals on his watch. Guardian looks out to his left, down by the point of my right shoulder. In it goes, flicks off the head of Pepe Sarr. Good work by Matisse Tel. Ball breaks away towards the halfway line to Vitina. Vitina plays it out to Ibrahim Ubay. Goes outside his man and goes over. He says he's been caught, and it's a goal kick, says the referee. Saint-Germain want a penalty. All the cards are coming out. Dembele gets a yellow card for protesting. Interesting to see that again. There seems to be absolutely no reason to say for Ibrahim Ubay to go down. Just now, I've never seen it in slow motion, and it is a shocking bit of a dive there by Ibrahim Ubay. Lucas Bergvall comes on. He's going to replace the outgoing Pepe Sarr, who I think has had a good game. Bergvall though, sneaked by hands, Postecoglou, towards the back end of last season. Comes on, so Bergvall comes on from Pepe Sarr. Now into the last 4 seconds of the 90. Spurs can now go very close to smelling the silver polish of the cup. They've got an extra 5 minutes to play, and we're into the first of those 5 minutes. All a little bit tight now. That goal on 85 by Kang in Lee just put things 6 minutes actually. Let's put it back into the melting pot here. Enrique suddenly into his technical area, sniffing the opportunity of taking this to the next stage. Bellini is up, orchestrating things from the technical area, which happened in official down below. By Kang Lee, Spence heads it back. Gray hooks it over his shoulder, and where will do. Headed forward by Batista. Tina, chest down, hooks it out to the top of the right hand side. Bono gets away from a bite. Touch of something into the half of Paris Saint-Germain, where the left back, Mendes, will take his time to get it under control. Into the 92nd minute we go. Paris Saint-Germain 1, Tottenham 2. Finally now to say that first goal of the game went the way of Mickey van der Ven. On 39 minutes, Pinheiro took a free kick inside the Paris Saint-Germain half. It's a goal away to my right hand side. It's Phil Ball. Right to left, Pedro headed it into the box. Van der Ven, the Marquinhos battle for it. Ball broke to Paulinho, fired a shot in. Chevalier put it onto the crossbar, and as it popped off the bar, it's towed in 5 yards by Mickey van der Ven for 1-0 at the break. Straight into the start of the second half. And then Pedro had a deep free kick around the back. This time went Romero, headed it goalwards on the angle. Lucas Chevalier tried to shovel the ball away and made a right mess of it into the back of the net. It went for 2-0. Saint-Germain, pale image of the side that defeated Real Madrid in the Champions League. And Spurs, very Thomas Frank-esque. But that has all been changed somewhat on the 85th minute when Coutinho's short pass to his left. Saw Kenny Lee, the substitute, thumped the ball home. It's low into the bottom corner of Ricardo's goal. Down to his left-hand side for 2-1 and set the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. Third minute of the game. Paris Saint-Germain out to this near side. Lee tries to put it in, blocked by Spence. Tancourt pumps it up in the air and away, so he can't get anywhere near it. Pacho, out to Kang Lee, to Hakimi, back to Kang Lee, deep cross looking on the far side. From right to left to find Mbai. Mbai comes inside. Plays it now to Marquinhos. 8 yards outside the penalty area. Spurs away to my right. Hakimi to Dembele. Right across, it's 2-2. It's turned in by Giancarlo Ramos. Oh, 94 on the clock. And somehow it is 2-2. And I suppose when I was lauding the fact that Spurs are playing against a side that hadn't really done anything, were right at a kilter of everything, Paris Saint-Germain has shown the true grit of champions here by coming back from 2 goals down. Chevalier would be happy because it was his awful mistake that gave it 2-0. We'll look across the line here, will be checked. It's a great ball in by Dembele. There is a chance of an offside here. They will be checking it. But for now, the header by Ramos as he's falling to the floor 6 yards out into Vicario's bottom right-hand corner. Seems to have brought Paris Saint-Germain, brought them back in. If the goal remains, which it looks likely, it is now, with a minute and a half to go, of the 6 to be added on. Put us into a situation where it's all square going into the final seconds, and Saint-Germain come forward. It's been won by Ruiz, and all of a sudden Spurs on a wobble here. Stanso battles away on the far side with Mbai, who again finds himself on the turf. Loves having a look at the turf. Gets any physical contact. Tell gets across the ball, brings it down, plays it to Spence, comes inside to Spence. Look, tries to reverse it. Marquinhos is in the way. Tell battles with Dembele. Marquinhos and Spence go together. Lee picks up the pieces. Down the line to Dembele, inside to Marquinhos. Ruiz, 12 yards inside his own half, spreads it out now. Chance again for White to run it down so, but he lets it go inside to Fabian Ruiz. Square ball to Kang Lee now. Spurs on the back foot. We're into the final of the 6 minutes to be added on. Crossing by Hakimi into the Spurs box is brought by the legs of Jed Spence. Back he goes this time. Hakimi to Kang Lee, to Dembele, to Marquinhos, square to Medina. To say the change with Fabian Ruiz has brought some impetus to the the side for Paris Saint-Germain. Dembele tries to lift it in. Danto's got himself into a bit of a pickle, but manages to tidy up. But Romero shows presence of mind to clear the ball away. 10 seconds left of a minimum of 6 to be played. 3 this time. Has the player down, but he's going to stop it for some treatment. I'm not sure the Spurs really need that at the moment. Romero seems to be clutching at his left calf, but Frank at the moment must be considering the resolve of the Tottenham Hotspur side. Because the way the game's gone, Tottenham have been the dominant side for most of this game. Romero really struggling with cramp in the middle of the park. Back in play we go. Pajo to Ruiz. Ruiz to Vitina. Referee says that's enough. Shot goes in. That is the final whistle. Thank you very much. We are going into the next phase of the game. Do join me for that in just a moment.
Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok.
Well, you join me back here at the end of 90 minutes, 2 apiece. 2 late strikes, Canyon lead on 85, but Gonzalo Ramos turned in Dembele's header on 94. They've turned this game on its head. Champions League winners showing their resolve as the two sides get ready for the next phase of play. Frank's side would have been very happy to have finally got the final whistle pretty much done. Ruiz was the catalyst of the change around, but the desire that was shown from the side of Paris Saint-Germain. It's been quite a game. Spurs very much can hold their heads up high, but they'll be very disappointed to have not given themselves a real chance here. Lead 2 goals to the good. Paris Saint-Germain side that was clearly off its own marks, if you could say that. Spurs with a very much Thomas Frank-esque way forward. We're into a penalty shootout now. And Chevalier will be in goal for the side of Paris Saint-Germain. Ricardo in goal for the side of Spurs. And Chevalier needs to find something through the surrounding rumours that are going on about Donnarumma. He was gone to social media to say that his heart is broken and he's no longer required. And he's now looking for another club. Romero and Marquinhos will now toss for the choice of ends, etc. In front of me here at the Stadio Friuli. Choice of ends has been chosen that referee today. It's kept a light ahead on it. Have a little bit of a fluttering of many cards in the second half, but we have everybody just going through the final throws. Marquinhos just high fives and claps to the officials, but that is now where we stand. Who takes home the UEFA Super Cup? That is a question. Thomas Frank will be disappointed. Fair thing to say. Would have been happy if you'd offered him a 2-2 draw, I think, at the start of the 90 minutes tonight. But now will be disappointed with the way things have gone. Chevalier and Vicario wander off to the goal away to my left-hand side. It's the Spurs end of the pitch. That's where their fans are. We're just going through the simple logistics of the penalty shootout. Remember one foot on the line, etc., etc. No diving too early. Have a good penalty shootout. Well, where's your money now? It's a one-shot shootout, really. 9 penalties and then sudden death. It's going to be Spurs that take the first penalty. And it is going to be up to the spot. Wandering one player wearing the 19th shirt. Dominic Solanke, who's had very little to do in the game, up against Chevalier in the goal away to my left-hand side. Solanke, 2 paces back from the ball. Chevalier, goal away, bounce up and down on the line. Solanke, top corner, away to Chevalier's top left-hand corner. It's 1-0 Spurs after just one penalty. Lovely finish. Little shuffle on the spot to get some impetus, and then he struck it high away to Chevalier's left-hand side. Chevalier went the right way. Couldn't get there. Well, coming forward, it is Udine with his first penalty. And he is going to place the ball on the spot. Incredible to see Joao. Readily looks a much bigger keeper in his orange kit. Udine back to the edge of the box. Want to run up here. To the ball he goes stealthily, little crouch in there. Now a bit of pace, goes and clips the ball wide of Vicario's left-hand post. Vicario's gone nuts because he dived away to the right to go and get a newspaper and a pint of milk. He'd gone the wrong way, but the ball's gone wide of the post by a fair distance. Well, in fairness, it doesn't matter how wide it goes at all, but Thomas Frank is over the moon, as most of the Spurs fans will be, because Udine has not hit the target. So Enrique glances down at his trainers and thinks I didn't put those socks on. But now coming forward for the second penalty. Rodrigo Bentancur for Spurs against Lucas Chevalier. Goal away to my left-hand side. Bentancur motionless. Bouncing on the spot in the middle of the goal. Chevalier, here comes Bentancur. There goes the goal. 2-0 to Spurs. Fine penalty, but I have to say, yet again, he went the right way, did young Lucas Chevalier, but it's a fine penalty, tucked into the side netting, 3/4 away up from the base to the top, and it's 2 goals that Spurs have in the penalty shootout. And the second penalty coming forward now for Paris Saint-Germain. Phil has to be scored. Here's the man to come forward, but the scorer of the equaliser in the 94th minute. Carlo Ramos against Vicario. Carlo Ramos stares at the ball. Right-footed up to the ball he comes. Thumbs it down the centre. Vicario goes to his right. And it's the first for Paris Saint-Germain. 2 penalties from each side taken. Tottenham lead by 2 penalties to 1. Right down the middle. Vicario sets it once he's gone away. Stood still, it's not still play long. Could never really take that chance in a penalty shootout. Here we go. Chevalier back in between the pipes, and the goal scorer number 1, Ricky van der Ven, comes forward. He's going to give this up and a half by the distance he's run back. Up to the ball, left-footed, save this time. Blow down to the left-hand side by Chevalier. Is a bit of a blow. Chevalier waits, to his left-hand side. It wasn't tucked in the corner. It was halfway between the keeper and the post. And once he gets the right way, Lucas Chevalier always going to save the ball. Saint-Germain fans watch Dembele come forward here. He now level things up. So far, I have to say that Pinheiro has got nowhere near any penalty. It's Dembele who's going to come in from the edge, checks from his left foot, now to his right foot, goes forward, straight down the centre as Pinheiro again makes to go to his right-hand side, and it's all level in the penalty stakes now. So Vicario's gone right every single penalty. Valley this time sent it the other way, wasn't deep in the corners and left-hand corner, but it was okay because once Vicario had started going, the way he was going to change the momentum of his body, falling to his right, back to his left. And now it is all level after 3 penalties. Coming forward now is Tottenham Hotspur. They just love a swinging, painful penalty shootout. Well, that's what you've got here. Tottenham versus Lucas Chevalier. All the way to my left-hand side. Both sides have missed their penalties. Tell round the ball, stops, sends it wide to the right of Chevalier's goal. Chevalier's up in the air, and it's a miss wide of the goal by Tell. I'll tell you what, he sent the keeper the wrong way, but you still have to hit the target. He's got nowhere near it. It's always curling away, and now Paris Saint-Germain are favourites in the penalty shootout, having missed their first penalty. Well, it ebbs, it flows, it swings to and from each side. Chance for Kangin Lee to take the next penalty. Scorer of the first goal on the night, substitute. Lee versus Vicario. Vicario goes the opposite way. This time for the first time, and Lee puts it in the corner. And now the pressure is on. Because somehow Spurs, from a position of dominance in the game, have let a lead, a 2-goal lead in the game, and they now let the penalties go away as well. Pedro has to score this for Tottenham Hotspur, trailed by 3-2. They've got to score this. Pedro must score this, or else Paris Saint-Germain have won the UEFA Super Cup. Porto versus Chevalier in the penalty shootout. He takes his time, Kate. Is down, the pressure builds. Porto up to the ball, right-footed, puts it into the back of the net. And the pressure builds yet again for the side from Paris Saint-Germain. Porto, the man that does the business to make it 3 apiece. And now the big Vicario has not even sniffed the polish on the footballs today. He's gone the wrong way every single time. Now it is all to do with Nuno Mendes taking on Vicario. Vicario must save, Mendes must miss. It's not to take this any further. Mendes into the back of the net. Paris Saint-Germain with the UEFA Super Cup. And they win the trophy, coming back from 2 goals down. Paris Saint-Germain, not the side we saw in the UEFA Champions League. Draw the game 2-2 after being 2-0 down until the 85th minute. And then they win the penalty shootout. Thank you very, very much for listening.
Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. For listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps, and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok.